best tips on how to ask for a raise and negotiate salary. Now, how can we attract more money? Why not negotiate for a new position or ask for a raise? Let's talk about this. Number 1. Research. You need to be prepared and do your research before you ask for a raise. For negotiations, you should first research how much people of the same role are making. There are websites out there with salary calculators that you can use, like Glassdoor, LinkedIn, PayScale, and other studies that publish data or statistics, like the Bureau of Labor. Remember that researching is just one step. You can also reach out to other recruiters in your area and ask them. Talking to friends or colleagues also works to get more intel from them. Salary discussions may be awkward in conversation, but we need to normalize this to progress towards earning what we're worthy of. Let's face it, some companies even have policies prohibiting employees from discussing their salary because this triggers realizations that their pay is not at par with their performance. When talking to your friends, it would be best to approach it in a way that you're asking for advice on your situation that needs transparency. We can start with, "Hi Bob, I was hoping to get your advice on my case. I'm thinking of asking for a raise at my job. This is my role and my years of experience, and my current salary is $40,000. But after researching, I think asking for about $50,000 will align with my experience level, since you are more familiar with the industry. Do you have any thoughts if this is a reasonable salary to ask?" You can play around with those lines, but make sure you sound like you are asking for advice and not prying about their situation. Since people are receptive to sharing this information, to get a better sense of your financial worth, you can start looking online and also talk to people like recruiters and people in similar roles as you. Number 2. Prepare supporting evidence. When proposing this to your boss, you must ensure that you have evidence that answers the question, why? You have to provide proof that you gave value to the company. Ensure that the information you provide is more of, "I have increased the black campaign by blank %. To make it more powerful, it can also go along the lines of, "I've brought this client, which resulted in this revenue," or "I've increased the number of leads by blank number." Whatever it is that you're trying to ask for, it should be backed up by data to most likely get that raise. After watching this video, we'd like you to start jotting down the measurable value you've brought to the company. You can update this in real time or at the end of every month or quarter. Just don't forget this. This is not just for a raise, but also to review your performance for future purposes. Number 3. Prepare a precise salary to ask. After getting the idea of the general range that people in similar roles are making, the next thing to do is decide precisely the amount you'll be asking for. You should present a concrete number or range rather than a rounded number. It gives the impression that you understand the actual value. So, even if you decide through research that the range should be $40,000 to $45,000, it will still be better to bump that up to $41,000 or $46,000. ask for slightly more than you want. So there's room to negotiate down if necessary. From my perspective, asking 30% more of the amount you want would be reasonable. In most cases, I drop it down a notch, but it makes the client happy because they think I conceded. But in fact, I left with more money in my pocket. Either way, you also need to prepare for other forms of accepting compensation in case the company pushes back on your request for a raise. It can be things such as bonuses, stock options, allowances, flexibility in work hours, and other benefits. Number 4. Frame your negotiation correctly. After having the preparations, remember that attitude is also a key to successful salary negotiation. It would help if you expressed gratitude for the job and how excited you are to help the company. You should be positive and focus on how you can help the boss. If you're with a team during the negotiation, it would be better to be on the same side of the table. It shows how bonded you are and that you'll help the team move forward if given the raise. To frame the conversation, you can take the lead in focusing on why giving you a raise is a win for all teams. It's also advisable to set aside personal emotions. It may be a good thing to know how this raise will help you personally, but remember that the main focus for this is how you can benefit the company. It would be better to focus on how this increase will allow you to help the company more and bring more value to the table. There are 3 components to determining your value to the company: past, present, and future. First, describe the things you've provided to the company. Just like the previous list, use concrete examples to back you up. Next, the present will let you discuss what you're doing now. Third, it's about the future. Tell them your ideas of how you'll continue to provide value to the company moving forward. A quick tip here is to determine the challenges of your boss and the company. Then, come up with ideas or solutions that can be feasible in the future. It shows how you understand the challenge and your plans to help the company overcome these. Your perspective of seeing gaps, missed opportunities, or current mistakes and coming up with solutions will reveal your mindset, your involvement, and real interest in the company's success. Number 5. Practice negotiating and get ready to ask. The sad truth is, not all employers will prompt to give you a raise, because why would they voluntarily offer you more if you can provide them with this performance at this rate? Many people believe hard work will speak for itself, but that's not always the case. Negotiating may not be comfortable, but the more you practice, the better you'll become. And eventually, you'll notice that it will be less uncomfortable each time. Think of a salary negotiation as a Broadway or an actual performance in which you'll not show up unprepared. You will not show up without hours of practice because the stakes are high. As mentioned by an economics professor, there can be an additional payment of $1.5 million to your career if you arrange your salary. How can you practice this? It can be as simple as calling your credit card company to try to negotiate a lower interest rate. It can also be negotiating down a medical bill, or physically negotiating down an item from a store. The more situations you involve yourself in, the better equipped you'll become. Just like a mock interview, it would be better to practice with a friend. List down all the possible rebuttals or questions of your boss, and come up with answers to each. One of the most common cases is that there's no budget for the raise. So, we advise considering how you'll respond to this confidently. Lastly, be confident in presenting these. Also, don't forget to show your gratitude and appreciation. Keep the conversation focused on how this raise will help the company through your value. Always remember that it's worth it. Putting more money in your pocket equivalents your worth in the company. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Comment below if you're ready for a raised income. See you at the next one.